All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between Romantic and Fortitude, taking place here on Springtime. Now, learning my new casting setup, I changed my room and redesigned it and relaid it out so everything on my computer is like on the wrong side, and I don't have lights set up yet. So it may take me a little bit of time to figure out how exactly I want this casting setup to work. But well, the things you do for family to relay things out and use every ounce of space that you can overall. Over here on the bottom right hand side of the map, we see Romantic opening things up with what appears to be the Paladin rifle build, getting that Altar of Kings down a little bit later. No barracks as of yet, and now going to go ahead and set up that barracks perhaps, and then start setting up that that farm to follow up behind it. Meanwhile, we're looking at 120 or Escalating, opening things up with the Necropolis here. Gonna go ahead and do a little bit of scouting, getting up that 6th Acolyte. And, well, gonna be trading up a couple of ghouls and perhaps a Crypt Lord or a Death Knight. Both have become very popular. Crypt Lord gonna be going for that go wide strategy early on, and then perhaps being able to use that Impale very effectively. Now, I remember the Crypt Lord was originally thought of to be as like the third and final hero in the tri-hero Undead. Getting that third level Crypt Lord, getting that Impale alongside that Lich's Frost Nova made for some nasty 1-2-3 combinations with that Death Coil. Instead now, really opening up and trying to use those early beetles to play some really interesting strategies. Coming back down to the south side here, we are going to get the blacksmith done. Need to get that farm though. Paladin going to be popping on out, and here we are, here we go. Things are off to the races, so to speak. A lot of peasants on that lumber line. Should be able to continually train up. Needs to build another farm as well. And well, the timings on this particular build a little bit tighter, needing to get those more expensive riflemen out and also getting that paladin out on the battlefield. All right, here we are already. The Crypt Lord gonna go straight after that Ice Troll Priest in the back. Anytime there's a healer in the group, if you can take it down, you make sure to effectively clean up much of that healing damage, and you can move on a little bit more quickly, even though that Sasquatch is hitting you pretty hard. All right, based on the timing from Romantic, well, 120 knows that he can perhaps try to set up this haunted gold mine first before that early ziggurat. The paladin is out here on the battlefield, needs to do a lot of creeping. The riflemen are going to be able to do a little bit of poking as well, but that paladin really wants to get to level 2 first, so there is a bit of time on the side of 120. 120 also going to be playing close to home here, playing close to the vest, so to speak, and just cleaning out the easier creep camps. He does have Impale, going to pick up a nice little item here, and that Acolyte is just still wandering around. We can see that there's a Ziggurat off in position, so that is most likely going to be upgraded to that Nerubian Tower. And, well, we also know that this one Necropolis is going to be staying at Necropolis for a little bit of time, since we need to train up 5 more of those Acolytes. Paladin out here really wants to get to level 3 first. That's what's really important, getting level 3 on that Paladin, being able to get a 400 hit point heal, essentially ensuring that riflemen, when they take damage, they're not going to be falling down easily. The Ice Troll Priest, however, does need to get some heals on that Paladin, but the Paladin has a Ring of Regeneration, which is often an overlooked item, or I believe to be an overlooked item as well, when you're trying to utilize your time and utilize it effectively. All right, here we are, here we go. We're going to see a little bit of engagement. Crypt Lord going to fight. There it goes, an Impale. That could be a problem. One very low hit point rifleman already. Are we going to see a Holy Light right there? We are. They're trying to break down a couple of those units, but that Impale did enable us around here. All right, we're going to see a little bit of damage. We're going to see a Holy Light onto that ghoul, or just try to finish things off. It's not going to be able to get it. Needed a little bit more damage, and that's the difference between level 2 and level 3. difference between level 2. Such a big difference there, as we're going to look at a little bit of damage go down back across. That skeletal minion would give level 3, and that is a big deal indeed. Trying to finish things off, get that skeletal minion, get to level 3, and then suddenly, well, those hit point heals are going to be that much stronger. All right, that Ice Troll Priest is going to be able to stay alive. However, this Rifleman now trying to back away, and all of them are just, well, trying to absorb a little bit of that damage any which way. That Ice Troll Priest now trying to back up again. We're going to see a little bit of damage here. One more shot that finishes off. There goes an Impale. That Ice Troll Priest is going to get taken. No, gets healed. The stun didn't last that long. And, well, you can see the sudden difference in level 3, that little bit of extra experience completely turning the tide of that battle. Are we going to see a couple of, well, quick, easy run-by shots here? Ice Troll Berserker is there as well. We're going to see a little bit of damage go back across these units. You're going to see a low hit point Ghoul. Is that going to get bursted down? Well, just trying to finish it off with old school shootout, as that Ice Troll Berserker also suffering quite a bit of damage. Wow, really scrolled in a lot off of just one click. All right, we're going to see a little bit more damage come on through, trying to get a little bit of surround. Who's going to get taken down first? This is just one of those situations. We were trying to maximize the heals and not do too much of an overheal, but it looks as though one of those riflemen needs to hang back just a little bit more. All right, a little bit of damage. That's going to be a potion of healing used right there. That Ghoul, we're going to see a Holy Light. Yes, we do. That now rifleman is going to be the weakest link, trying to retreat back away. He's going to get attacked by beetles, but also some units are trying to break the chase there as well. All right, low hit point Ghoul trying to retreat back down to 108 hit points. No boots of speed on that even with boots of speed on the Paladin, having a difficult time. Oh, the beetle getting in the way, and are we going to see a sacrificial self-kill there, down to 29 hit points? That Crypt Lord and that Paladin, just both sides trying to fight, does get the final shot off, and now the Paladin trying to sneak away. Is it going to be able to break through? Does have boots of speed, could try to double back around, and now, oh, Holy Light to break the surround, and will be able to make its way back home. All right, we are at Keep. We don't see a second hero getting trained up as of yet. It is no surprise, though, the Blood Mage. Meanwhile, Undead has that economic advantage, does have a Necropolis here as well for a Scroll of Town Portal, and is now teching to Tier 3. Undead actually looking very scary at this stage, and going for triple crypts. All right, so triple crypts. Are we expecting to see Mass Ghoul Frenzy? That could be the play here. Mass Ghoul Frenzy. All right, that Rifleman taking quite a bit of damage. Gonna sell some items, pick up another. There's a Wand of Mana Stealing, and well, selling another one there. So with the Wand of Mana Stealing, perhaps can try and heal up a little bit more. Does have level 2 Devotion Aura, and are we gonna see an engagement here? Oh, what's going to happen? All right. Oh, complete surround. And now a Wand of Mana Stealing used right there. The ghouls, are they going to get surrounded out here? Are we going to see a Holy Light trying to, well, keep that surround in place? The Crypt Lord down to 64 hit points, Scroll of Healing. And now we're just going to continue to shoot out of this position. Paladin probably wants another way to be able to get another attack here, but this is a complete turning of the tide. A beautiful play there. There's the Crypt Lord back on out. There's some Siphon Mana. Crypt Lord has to be very careful. There's another Holy Light finishing off another target there, as the Crypt Lord doesn't really have many options. All right, turning back around, perhaps can continue. No, why Siphon Mana from a Crypt Lord that has no real mana there? There goes another beetle again, as the Paladin is just running amok inside, trying to finish things off. Oh, that Ghoul able to get enough hit points because he's on Blight, continuing to fire his way through. There goes another Ghoul. And, well, this could just be a game of target practice. Another surround. There's a Holy Light. That is going to be a problem again. Is this one unit going to try and pull back? And, well, Romantic sees that this the iron is, the forge is hot, the iron is hot, so just strike now, as the militia have made their way all the way across the battlefield. All right. 44 supply. Well, we don't see a second hero getting trained up, and that is going to be a big problem here. Blood Mage continuing to fire its way through. We're going to see a lot of ghouls, and now an Arcane Vault trying to be placed down. All right, this Forest Troll Berserker is inside here. Level 5 now on the Paladin. We're going to go for level 3 Holy Light. That's going to be a major heal there. Level 2 now on the Blood Mage. A little bit more mana, as the Black Citadel is now done. All right. We're going to see some damage come back across again. Blood Mage is just continuing to fire. We could also also see a Staff of Sanctuary guard towers now being placed down 10 minutes into this game. You can't even call this a tower rush. 10 minutes into the game, tier 3, a little bit more damage is going to be enough. No, it is not. All right, so somehow Romantic has still been able to can keep this well. There goes another Acolyte here, and now we're just looking at a bunch of firing. All right. So far, though, 269 gold. Where is all the gold that 120 is spending? That is the question. That should be upgraded. We perhaps need a clarity potion as well on that Paladin. Scroll of regeneration to heal up a little bit more and just trying to keep a little bit of that distance. That is going to be an Arcane Tower as the Crypts, well, taking a little bit more damage here. Ghoul's going to try to swarm off in from the north. That is, well, Siphon Mana here. We're going to turn back around and start firing some shots here, as the peasants are trying to slow down any of the surface area. All right, going to go ahead and constantly attack here, turning back things around. There's a Holy Light, another Ghoul going to get taken down. Lower hit point Riflemen just need to constantly be walking back here. Blood Mage needs to fall back. There is no Staff of Sanctuary, even though the Arcane Vault was right there. Perhaps we're still at tier 2. All right, continuing to fall back again. We're looking at that low hit point Rifleman down to 12 hit points. It's going to get taken down, and there's a Tactical Scroll of Town Portal trying to retreat back away, and some more damage again. We are, in fact, at tier 2, hence the reason why no Staff of Sanctuary, well, doesn't really need it. We are going for level 2 armor upgrades again and adding in a lumber mill. The lumber mill will open up guard towers here. 120 able to, well, somehow still stay in this game. He has a large amount of gold, and he's going to have that economic advantage for quite some time. All right, Romantic retreating back here. We're going to see another beetle get taken down. Paladin, about 5 1/3 already. We're looking at the Blood Mage. Are we going to see some perhaps more items get picked up here as units are just trying to retreat their way back? That Paladin can easily, yes, just Holy Light, snipe down these targets. And now the Blood Mage trying to continue to retreat back here. We're seeing some damage here, some more damage. There goes another Ghoul. No, Ghoul actually able to stay alive. Paladin wants to get a bit of damage onto that Ghoul right there. Oh my gosh, how come it just gave up the chase there? And now we're going to see the Nerubian Tower. There's a Holy Light finishing off another, and now going to perhaps target in this spot. Oh, but what is this? The base of Romantic is still rather sparse. We're going to see it impale there. Arcane Tower removing. Now, Arcane Tower completely gone. The Ghoul frenzies. Well, very, very fast melee attack. No Scroll of Town Portal on the Paladin or Blood Mage, being forced to walk all the way back, and since there was that loss of gold, that is a problem here. Crypt Lord does have a Scroll of Town Portal, so this is not an all-in attempt at all, and both sides are fighting. We're seeing a little bit of damage. There's another Holy Light, and there's that tactical retreat. A lot of workers were lost, though, and 120 can do these trades efficiently. Another odd thing to note right now, the Crypt Lord still staying at level 5 at this time as a solo hero. So we have a level 5, level 3 Paladin, a Blood Mage combination going up against a solo level 5 Crypt Lord, and that's all we have. Paladin going to try to perhaps venture forth here, get some damage across some of these targets. Blood Mage going to siphon some mana, trying to get even more experience again. But remember, the Blood Mage without that Paladin doesn't have that much survivability. All right. Somehow Romantic has swarmed his entire Ghoul and Beetle army without being spotted by Romantic at all. Not quite sure how that happened, but they once more are going to revisit and perhaps take down this position here. All right, just a lot of damage, a lot of pressure. Holy Light onto that Blood Mage, keep him alive. Crypt Lord says, you know what? If at first you succeed, well, you can try that again, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. A little bit of damage. Are any more Ghouls going to get taken down? Just 1 or 2 more shots there. Blood Mage with level 2 Flame Strike finishing some things off, but Romantic losing a fair number of workers. It says he currently has 10, but that number is hard to believe right now. Right, you only see 3 workers here, and the 4 Ice Troll Priest is going to perhaps hang back a little bit more. All right, selling some items, more peasants getting trained up here. Siphon mana, well, a little bit of damage being absorbed up here. Blood Mage now at level 4, going to have level 2 Siphon mana. Crypt Lord is just going to be trying to come here himself, and well, the level 5 Paladin should be more than enough to deal with that damage here. All right, Forest Troll, Shadow Priest, or Ice Troll Priest should be able to abolish magic some of those units. Guard Tower is now up, and that should be enough poke damage here to finish things off just a bit. All right, there's going to be some damage. That's going to get taken down. A little bit of healing back the other way again. All right, Death Knight also clearing out some of the creep camps, large ghoul army, allowing him to clear up this, well, orange creep camp with relative ease. Those ghouls, however, don't have any upgrades, so they have Ghoul Frenzy, they're attacking faster, they're just not dealing much more damage, as 120, oddly enough, opted to go for Unholy Aura first, even though, well, yeah, oddly, it was the second hero. You often see that as the primary hero strategy, not the second hero. All right, Blood Mage sitting at level 4. We're looking at both the Beetles once more making their way through. Paladin going to come across. Are we going to see a Holy Light onto a Ghoul? Yes, we do, and that, well, pretty much ensures a quick death there. There's a Death Coil. Well, 300 hit point nuke versus a 200 hit point heal, and that might be too much there. There's another Holy Light, and the Paladin is just on a vengeance, trying to, well, 1 or 2 shot a Ghoul, and then follow it up with a Holy Light, and perhaps get that Paladin to level 6. That is going to be strange here. Meanwhile, Blood Mage making its way off to the north does have level 2 Flame Strike. Should be able to deal large amounts of damage to all of these towers here. Are we going to see a Flame Strike across all of these towers? I would have expected these 3 Ziggurats to get actually like bursted down pretty fast. There goes one already, and now one of those are already gone. A little bit of damage there, but unable to get it onto that last Spirit Tower. Ghouls are getting shot down pretty quick. However, any low hit point trailing one could be a little bit of a problem. There's a Death Coil, there's a Holy Light, both sides continuing the fire. The Riflemen are trying to shoot it down the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord has plenty of heal. There's a big Flame Strike in the back though, and that's going to open up some damage across some of those low hit point Ghouls. No scroll, level 6 now on the Paladin. This changes everything as the Blood Mage could be surrounded. Blood Mage is going to get a Holy Light. Gets impaled up into the air there. There's another Holy Light, unable to get Resurrection off as the mana is now perhaps low on that Paladin, continuing to fire their way through. A lot of damage going back onto low hit point Ghouls. Oh, that Ghoul able to escape away? No, unable to escape. A Rifleman, however, gets taken down as well. 36 supply compared to 59. And 120 is now really letting that economic advantage shine. Blood Mage needs to get resurrected, perhaps going to get resurrected at a tavern to get back out onto the battlefield quickly. Doesn't want to miss out on, well, miss out on that resurrecting time. All right, going to push back the other way. Blood Mage does have a little bit of mana. Perhaps going to try to get a Siphon mana here. There's a massive Impale. Oh, big Impale across the board. One Rifleman already down. Another Rifleman down as well. Ghouls are getting, shot down as well. But remember, if you're just constantly trading blows, the economic advantage of the expansion is going to make all that difference. All right, did we see a resurrection there? I think we did see a resurrection, but only maybe 2 Riflemen were brought back. Blood Mage is sitting on level 3 Flame Strike, trying to drain more mana out of that Shaman, as we see the Lich as the 3rd and final undead hero. All right, that could play some big plays here. Blood Mage gonna perhaps siphon mana. Needs the siphon mana. Get a Holy Light as well. A little bit of armor. There's that siphon mana. Pulling it from that Ice Troll Priest. Gonna finish off the Magnetar Reaver. Get some big items across the board. What was the item there? Claws of Attack plus 12. Big damage indeed. Meanwhile, Paladin already up to 143 mana off of that level 2 siphon mana here. 47 supply compared to 55. All right, it feels like the overlay is just a little bit lagging in terms of speed. We're going to see this Forest Troll High Priest. Losing quite a bit of mana. That Blood Mage already up to, or has a maximum capacity of 510. So hence the reason why it's hard to fill up or top off this Blood Mage's mana. But can give some to that Paladin again once more. We're going to see a little bit of a fight here. Death Knight may try and get a Death Coil off as well. And the Blood Mage is just trying to get in the position. Transferring of some items 47 supply compared to 67. Big supply advantage for 120. However, well, economic advantage is still very strong. And for 120 compared to Romantic, even though Romantic has that hero level advantage.
A player's forces are under attack.
Stun onto the Blood Mage. That's gonna back up here, right? The Rifleman, essentially, what, 2-4 upgraded. Gonna get a Siphon Life or a Siphon Mana there. Are we gonna see some? Impale misses. Impale completely misses. Gonna see a little bit of damage. Frost Nova goes down. Flame Strike. A lot of those trailing ghouls are now gonna be able to be one-shotted easily. Rifleman gonna turn back around, continue to fire. Illusions are down as well. Siphon Mana from the Lich. Lich is losing quite a bit of mana again. There's another Flame Strike across multiple targets again. Units trying to retreat back. There's a Death Coil. Are we gonna see a Holy Light? Yes, a beautiful heal there, as we're still seeing more units trying to battle it up. No more scrolls of healing, but ghouls could get taken down pretty quick. Blood Mage down to 349 hit points, going to turn back up the other way. And, well, the Obsidian statues trying to keep units alive, not working out all too well, as we're now pushing back once more. There's a big Holy Light onto the Blood Mage. Paladin still, well, I'm pretty sure he would wishes that he had a Ring of Regeneration, an extra 120 hit points a second. That Paladin would no longer be in that crazy defensive spot. All right, we're going to go into an engagement here, but the Magnetar Reaver is chasing after Romantic. Romantic trying to retreat back. Crippler doesn't have enough mana for an Impale. Death Knight comes across into the center portion. There's a Death Coil. Frost Nova. Paladin trying to back himself into a corner, and because he's backed himself into a corner, Scroll of Town Portal, he could buy a little bit of time there. There's a little bit more damage. A lot of ghouls got toasted. So many ghouls got toasted right there. Take a look at the corpses on the ground. So many units try to run in and chase after that Paladin. The Paladin finds himself between two ferns, I guess. No, I can't do dry comedy. That's not my bit. Finds himself between two rocks and is able to just burn everything right there. Death Knight trying to make its way back over. Level 2 now on that Lich. Blood Mage does have an Invul Potion. Perhaps should give one to the Paladin. Paladin once more still needs to find ways to heal up again and again. I always like Rings of Regeneration on Paladins. I know it's a little bit of a passive thing, but the Paladin so rarely ever has maxed out hit points that, well, essentially it's an extra 120 hit points on a Paladin throughout a game for every minute you have. So definitely that passive regeneration does make a big deal. All right, making his way off to the north. Are we going to see a Flame Strike here? Perhaps go down onto the building. There's a little bit. Oh, that would have been perfect. Just Flame Strike there. Siphon Mana. There goes an Impale. Blood Mage already in trouble. Going to Flame Strike himself and then try and get a big Holy Light again. A little bit more damage. And this is some brilliant Blood Mage use. That's really what we're looking at now. The Blood Mage has become the big primary hero, as the units are going to try and engage back again. Paladin trying to make its way forward. Are we going to see another Siphon Life right here? That Invul Potion giving that Blood Mage perhaps a big opportunity. Oh my gosh, so much damage across all of these targets. Are we going to see a Holy Light? Yes, we are again. Frost Nova goes down. Scroll of Healing quickly used to try and counteract. Units are trying to retreat back again, and mana is the issue. No real mana, but now that the Abominations are out here on the battlefield, they are not as easy to target down. One Flame Strike and suddenly every single ghoul that your opponent has is within one-shot range of all of these riflemen working together. Now now down to the south, we are seeing perhaps an additional attempt here, as the Blood Mage looks to retreat back once more. I am surprised we are not getting a Flame Strike down onto these buildings, just to open things up a little bit more mana again. Paladin has quite a bit of mana still, and we're going to see, a quick attack there. All right, ghouls trying to swarm in again. There goes a big Frost Nova. One ghoul, one rifleman down, another rifleman gets saved up again. Both sides fighting. Blood Mage gets up to level 6. Are we going to see the Phoenix? Oh my gosh, the Phoenix is going to be a big swap. I'm surprised we don't see it yet. Well, no reason not to see it, as the units are continuing to fire their way through. Finally, the Phoenix is out here onto the battlefield, and the Phoenix does major damage to the Abominations. You can see just the chunks of damage getting eaten off of the Abominations with that Phoenix. And there's the resurrection. A massive resurrection. Back up to 52 supply. Does it? Yeah, back up to 52 supply, upside down on supply right there, and now ready to do a little bit more damage. You can see that giant chunk of life just being removed from that ghoul here, and now the Blood Mage is going to try and siphon life again. Siphon life away from the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord unable to get the Impale off. Are we going to see a little bit more damage through? There's a Holy Light. Death Knight now trying to chase. Blood Mage needs to get another one. There's the Phoenix hiding off in the back here. That Phoenix, is it going to hatch back up down to 81 hit points, down to 60? It gets taken down. Get to level 6 of the Crypt Lord. All right, there goes another Abomination. Level 6 Abomination. Both sides are fighting their way through that disease cloud as we see, well, Carrion Swarm or Locust Swarm, excuse me, on that Crypt Lord first. Paladin needs to get some damage onto that Obsidian statue there. Finally gets it taken down. We're going to see some more Holy Light perhaps onto that Rifleman as we're continuing to fire volleys here. That Crypt Lord really just doing lingering damage as another Rifleman gets taken out again. All right, one pop shot onto that Obsidian statue. More Siphon mana again off of that Crypt Lord. Perhaps trying to get a little bit more mana still as those volleys are absorbing quite a bit of damage. Obsidian statue down to 68, down to 35. A little bit more damage needed. Now unsummoning some of those buildings. 40 supply compared to 43. There's that Siphon life. We have not had any mining for quite some time now. We're going to see perhaps some long distance mining here as the Blood Mage looks to fall back. 43 supply. Making its way back down home. There, an Acolyte, well, not going to make it home. We're seeing this long distance mining happening again, and the difference in gold mined right now, 12,500 gold was the difference in these expansion gold mines. Somehow Romantic able to stay in. And this was an interesting play by Romantic as well, purposely leaving this Forest Troll High Priest here as a target to be able to siphon mana from later. All right, a little bit more mana going into that Paladin again. Paladin looking very comfortable back at, 300 mana. Gonna, move forward, and the army sizes are so close to each other right now. 40 supply compared to 42. Little bit more mining still happening, going on back and forth. Tier 2 human with off of one base going up against Tier 3 undead off of 2 bases. And somehow Romantic is still in this game, if not in the lead. All right, oh, the Obsidian statue. You saw that magic damage from range 600 and just so much damage right there. Also, that True Shot aura from that Blood Mage giving a little bit of bonus damage to, pretty much the entire army except for that Paladin. A little bit more damage here. Being next to the Phoenix can be hazardous to your health. You can see the little bit of that damage over time. Gonna find another, Acolyte to get killed as this, Phoenix looks to retreat back. It wants to stay alive, and the Paladin, can pretty much overheal it, just in case its time life comes to an end too quickly. And they're gonna let that Phoenix egg hatch come down here. Don't let it be over the forest line. All right, there it is. Currently needs a little bit of additional time, but it feels like it's going to be fine. One thing to note though, Lich now got up to level 3. If the Death Knight can get to level 5, suddenly you're going to see a power shift just in terms of spells, being able to take down those Riflemen far too quickly. Level 1 Frost Nova was already scary enough. Now that we have a possibility of level 2 Frost Nova on the table, suddenly that damage, and these Riflemen, even with their 7, nearly 8 armor, don't feel powerful enough. Are we going to see an engagement here? The Phoenix should really just be engaging here. Nothing's really attacking it. So just go after these targets and then slowly pick it apart again and again. You can see that abomination, each shot dealing about 125 points of damage again and again, and still trying to take down these acolytes. These acolytes are pretty much just dark ritual targets that you are trying to remove from your opponent so that the Lich cannot, machine gun out all of that. Those Frost Novas. All right, Phoenix continuing to fire up from that high ground, could easily take down a big chunk of hit points off of that abomination. Only, what, 4 or 5 shots, and suddenly it's in that danger zone. You can see just 1 shot right there, 2 shots, 3 shots, yeah, 4 shots enough to finish it off here. We're gonna see them pale and now firing big shots here. All right, there goes a Frost Nova. Paladin gonna fire around. There goes a big flame strike, dealing more damage. The abomination about to get taken down. The abomination is down. There goes another impale. Both sides still battling that through. Paladin does have a potion of healing and also a potion of invulnerability. Divine shield right now, continuing to fire away. 31 supply compared to 23. Level 8 now on the Paladin. Paladin needs to stay alive. There's a potion of healing. There's gonna be another flame strike there, as the Paladin gonna try to perhaps double back around here and then continue the battle. There goes a death coil, and we're looking at some damage onto that obsidian statue, just trying to go after the weakest link. 1 more shot, that's gonna be taken down, and now the Death Knight could get taken down. Death Knight could be in trouble. No, invul potion in time. Paladin still running back around the other way, down to 304 hit points. We're gonna see an impale. The impale's gonna go down. Paladin could get taken down to 58 hit points. He's somehow stays alive. Invul potion was transferred. Lich falls at level 3. And now perhaps siphon mana into that Paladin and then perhaps cast a resurrection right here. Is that what is needed? That is the question now. Come on. Oh, he does not want to. Yeah, there's got to be some dead units here. Both sides getting ready to fight. There goes a mana, siphon mana again. Paladin purposely hanging around to the back here. Like I said, an extra 120 hit points. Every second you're in the game, that could make a difference. Only a handful of riflemen resurrected there, but still an important handful nonetheless. 14 supply compared to 33. All right. Death Knight does have the ability for Death Coil. Lich is, or it looks as though the Phoenix Egg gonna get taken down, and now a new Phoenix Egg being brought into play instead. There goes the Obsidian statue. That was huge. No longer having the glue to hold the undead heroes together. That Lich going straight after the other targets here. Paladin. Oh, oddly enough, could hero nuke down that Lich? That's not something you see every game or every day. There's another Holy Light. Way back around, they're gonna siphon mana. There's a death coil onto the Lich to keep him alive. Paladin purposely staying away in the very, very far backfield. Are we gonna see a Holy Light here? There's a little bit of damage onto the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord, we're gonna walking a game around in circles. There's an invul potion, and now the Death Knight is about to fall. Death Knight falls at level 4, and I believe that is gonna be the game. The Paladin should be the Holy Light right there, and there is the game. A crazy game going back and forth. Look at the hero score and the resource score and the unit score difference between these two. Romantic losing in the unit score, losing in the resource score by far, but having enough heroes or having enough hero experience to walk away with the victory. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.